Hey everyone, it's Desiree, and we are here with day 1 of our 2021 Christmas series here on my channel. For those of you that celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you had a wonderful time with your family. And now that we have passed Thanksgiving, we can now get going and enjoy and be inspired for next year's card making, because remember, I don't start this until 6 p.m. USA time Eastern after Thanksgiving. It's just something I have to do. But our first project here is going to be featuring the Stampers Anonymous stamp set called Yuletide Gatherings. And we are going to focus on this image here. I'm going to be using my polychromos to color this image, and we are going to create a vintage style card. Remember, the items that you're going to see throughout this series can be new items just recently released, or they can be items that have been out for some time because I dug through my stash. And that's what I encourage each and every one of you to do. So if the products are no longer available, instead of getting upset, dig through your stash, find something similar, or take the technique that I am showing you in this video and use it for the products that you have. Remember, this is to inspire you, to give you ideas whether you're currently making cards or you want to get prepared for next year. So let's get started and create our vintage card for day 1. So we're going to start cutting a piece of cardstock. It's actually the Strathmore Mix Media white paper, and it's from their 6x8 pad. Now, this here was cut approximately 4.5 by 6.5, because we're going to put this on a 5x7 card. I did use my Decal Edge trimmer by Tim Holtz because I just love that edge. I'm using my Potting Soil archival ink to stamp this image, and I'm going to stamp it a couple times. And I'm using one of those even pressure tools, I forget what they're called, that I had made myself. I just took one of the tops of my candle jar and filled it up with sequins that just reproduce on their own. All right. So speeding this up, I am using my polychromos, like I said before, and the reason why I chose those is because polychromos are very different than the Prismacolors, basically wax pencils. Polychromos are transparent. I did not want to lose the details in this stamp because there's a lot of hatching going on in this stamp set. And a lot of times we get stumped and we kind of get caught to say, okay, how should I color this image? What can I do with this image? We can do more than just, and it's a beautiful technique, heat embossing that image and then on top of a background or creating a background to do an emboss resist technique. We can add colors to these. The beauty of adding color is we don't have to add a lot of color. We do want to make sure that our colors are transparent so that we can see all of that hatching detail. That will help provide the shading and the depth that we look for in our other images, but we use 3, possibly 4 different colors of either alcohol markers or colored pencils or our watercolors, whatever your favorite medium is. Now, you can use any medium on this. You can use your watercolors for this, especially using archival ink. You cannot use archival ink with alcohol markers, so you would need to use a brown, I just lost my train of thought there. I am so sorry. You need to have an alcohol-friendly ink like Memento. Memento has all kinds of colors as well. You can see I'm literally just tracing over these lines. I'm not being perfect. You don't need to be perfect. I'm adding a light shade of the color when it comes to coloring in this image. It's not going to look like colored pencils that I have used before on my channel. This is looking very vintage, so it's got a very soft background. It's got a very pushed back background, and that's the look that I'm going for. This is when I do like to use my polychromos. I find they are wonderful pencils, but for me, my opinion, I do not, and I very rarely will use them when I'm coloring a complete image in. Because they are transparent, I do lean towards a wax pencil. And yes, my go-tos are the Prismacolors, and they are very reasonably priced. I'm going to say they're like a mid-range, and I'm talking of the 150 cent. You know, you can get the 150 cent when it's on sale for right around $100. Now, of course, that does not include shipping and taxes. Just saying. But it's a very good price, and these are artist quality pencils. I do not have the problems that I have not experienced yet. The problems that others have been saying with the breakage. With one pencil I did. So 1 out of 150, to me that's a good ratio. But anything's possible as we continue through. So anyway, you can see here that I'm adding dark lines. I'm adding in my dark shading. I'm now filling in with more of the pines. This is not taking many colors. What's great with the brown, it's mixing in with those colors. It's a color that I would have chosen too for the shadow. So with some of those leaves, I would have used a brown pencil. Same thing with the holly leaves. So everything just really worked together. What I'm going to do now is I'm using my Versamark pen, my clear ink pen, and I'm adding some details to the center. And I've added my Altenew Vintage Gold, and we are going to heat set that. I want that in the background. We will be adding gems on top of that. What I want to do next now is tone down this background. And what I want to show you here is that you can take a white background. So let's say if you only have Nina, Solar Crest, or the Recollections white, just by taking a brush, and this is one of my makeup brushes, with Vintage Photo and going over it, you can give this paper a different look. And that I do like to do, especially if I'm doing a vintage inspired or styled piece, which is what this is. I do not want stark white. I don't want stark white. I'll use any of my coffee dyed papers, or I can make it look like one. I went heavily in around the edges as well. And now I'm actually going to come in with a little bit of ground espresso, just to darken that edge up even more. So you've got the Vintage Photo, and then it just comes out. So it's almost like this is sitting in a halo, a highlight spot, and that's how easy you can do, or how you can get that. Just a little side note, there's a lot of sales going on today. This is one of them. I was able to get you 30% off this glass mat that I have used very often. I am a fan of it. So in case you wanted to, more details will be down below. So now we're going to mat the our panel. So I'm actually using, instead of gold, I'm actually going to use a rose gold mirror cardstock by Tonic. Why? The reason I chose the rose gold is to pull out the poinsettia. The poinsettia has very pale shades on that, and I don't want that to get lost. The greens are extremely vibrant, but I wanted to keep the poinsettia soft. Because poinsettias come in deep reds, they come in pinks, and that's the one that I was going for, was a pink. This would look beautiful with a white. Now, if you were doing a white one, I would advise pull out that Prismacolor white, use a wax so that you can get more details in that. You could use the polychromo, but you really want that if you use the white to stand out. I'm then placing this onto a honey gold satin cardstock by Tonic. Just then now to pull out the gold and the browns and that brown stamping that I did. I'm going to use my reverse tweezers, puncture a hole, because I'm using one of the Tim Holtz metal sentiments, and it states, "It's the most wonderful time of the year." So it's a wonderful time for my series because I love this. I think I love this as much as you guys do, if not more. I do enjoy this. But I also do enjoy the time coming up to the holidays. Although this one's coming up very quickly. Yes, this is moving very quickly. So I'm kind of off kilter just a little bit, but that's okay. We'll still enjoy it. You know that I'm going to add my splatters, so I'm using my P.H. Martin's non-bleed white watercolor, and I'm going to put down a little bit of my gold pearl spray, and I'm going to flick that on as well, just to give that a hint. It's not a snowstorm. We didn't have a snowstorm. This is like a light flurry. Just a light flurry. I know, you're all amazed. I usually pull in that snowstorm. I'm going to pull in a brad, and that's how I'm going to attach this sentiment. I love brads. I think they add a lot to our cards and can do a lot for our cards. It's like embossing folders to me. It's one of those elements that have gotten lost. And I think they should really make a huge comeback. So I'm going to take a piece of blue painter's tape over that edge, over the backing of the brad. Just in case it turns, it'll actually, as it keeps turning, it will cut into the paper. So this will just give it a little bit more longevity to hang in there, so that it doesn't cut through the paper. As I said before, this is a 5x7 card panel, and I'm using a pre-made card panel by Tonic. I love their card bases that are set. You can get them in 6x6, 7x7, 5x7, and then the normal A2 size. I love the thickness of them and the ease. It's very quick, and I usually wait for when their sales, because their sales are phenomenal for it. So they're probably on sale now. I'm adding some gems to the center of the poinsettia. These are gems that I get off of Amazon for other projects that I do. I do hope everyone enjoyed day one of our Christmas series for 2021. There is so much more coming throughout the days leading right up to December 25th. So again, I hope you enjoy. Please stay tuned for day 2. As we continue to go through our series. Remember, everyone, enjoy your process. Have fun with this. Be inspired by what you're watching. But most of all, always, be creative. Till the next video, guys. Take care.